Hi, I'm Steve, and welcome to Steve's Spots, where I visit those maybe not so well-known places that you may not find in a normal tourist guide. Today I'm visiting Louisville, Kentucky. Now, Louisville, Kentucky was founded by George Rogers Clark in about 1778. Now, George Rogers Clark is the brother of William Clark of the Lewis and Clark expedition. It's about 100 miles south of Indianapolis and about 100 miles southwest of Cincinnati, Ohio, and has a population of about 790,000 people. Being founded in 1778 makes it one of the oldest cities west of the Appalachian Mountains. Most people, when they come to Louisville, come to Churchill Downs, home of a Kentucky Derby in May. But I think there are a couple other places people should visit also, and that's where we're going to go to today. Oh, and I have a bonus third place that we want to visit also at the end of this. Our first visit is to the Fraser Historical Museum. Now, this museum is located on Museum Row in the downtown Bourbon district of Louisville. The museum occupies a late 19th century building of about 100,000 square feet. It was founded in 2004 by Louisville local Osley Fraser. It was originally called the Fraser Historical Arms Museum. This was because of a formal agreement signed in 2003 with the United Kingdom's National Museum of Arms and Armor. The agreement allowed the Fraser Museum to borrow and display arms and armament from the Royal Armories. It was the first time that a British National Museum had engaged in ongoing collaboration with an organization beyond its shores. In 2006, the museum changed its name to the Fraser International History Museum, a nod to its multinational origins of its collection. Over time, the museum began to shift its focus away from war toward more general topics of state, national, and global history. In 2011, once the agreement with the Royal Armories ended, the museum was renamed the Fraser History Museum, focusing on the state of Kentucky with the slogan, "Where the World Meets Kentucky." The Fraser houses one of the largest collections of toy soldiers and historical miniatures in the world, the Stuart Collection, donated by Charles Stuart of Frankfurt, and it has over 30,000 figurines, vehicles, and accessories representing some 170 different toy soldier and miniature makers. Some of the other exhibits include the Cool Kentucky exhibit. Now, this spotlights artists, craftsmen, scientists, chefs, musicians, and other notable figures from the Bluegrass State. On display are objects from such famous Kentuckians as Daniel Boone, Giant Jim Porter, trendsetter Mona Bismarck, inventor Garrett Morgan, mystery novelist Sue Crafton, actor George Clooney, and rapper Jack Harlow, along with sports memorabilia from all the local colleges. The Commonwealth Divided We Fall exhibit depicts the lives of everyday Kentuckians from the Ice Age to the present. Visitors learn from diverse figures about Shawnee storytellers, Choctaw students, trappers and frontierswomen, freedom seekers and abolitionists, Confederate and Union soldiers, trade unionists, women's suffragettes, Appalachian coal miners, and corn and tobacco farmers. A few other objects of interest include the original arrest warrant issued for Mary Todd Lincoln, and the original clock face from the Town Clock Church, and the Blitner Monument, the oldest surviving memorial to the American Civil War. You'll also find a wide array of historically significant arms and artifacts of American, American Indian, Asian, and European origin. Arms of note include Teddy Roosevelt's Big Stick, Custer's pistols, and Geronimo's bow and arrows. Other rare and noteworthy objects include a surplus grave marker from the Battle of the Little Bighorn and a first edition copy of Uncle Tom's Cabin. There's also a section about the Hatfield and McCoy feud of 1865 to 1891, which some people say is still occurring today. The Lewis and Clark experience simulates the journey the U.S. Army Corps of Discovery took from 1804 to 1806 to learn about the flora, fauna, and geography of the Louisiana Purchase. And finally, the Spirit of Kentucky exhibit serves as a visual guide to the history, craft, and culture of bourbon. It features a touchscreen library and a bottle hall stocked with hundreds, and I do mean hundreds, of different types of bourbons. In 2018, the Fraser Museum partnered with the Kentucky Distillers Association to build the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Welcome Center. Located on the museum's first floor and open to visitors free of charge, the Welcome Center is the official starting point of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Tour. A professional concierge service is on hand to help visitors plan trips to bourbon distilleries throughout the state. With 9 venues unique to the museum and a rooftop garden overlooking downtown Louisville, the Frazier, as the locals call it, offers a day that you will not forget. The second place you want to see is the Louisville Slugger Museum, home of the Louisville Slugger bat, the name in professional baseball. It's right across the street from the Fraser History Museum, so it's not hard to find. Immigrating from Germany to Maryland and then to Louisville, J. Frederick Hilrich began a woodworking shop in 1864, which filled orders for everything from spindles to shutters to steamboat interiors. The eldest son, John Andrew Bud Hilrich, was born in Louisville in 1866. By 1875, the little woodworking shop employed about 20 people. In 1880, Bud became an apprentice in his father's shop. Now, young Bud also played amateur baseball and made his own baseball bats, along with bats for several of his teammates. According to legend, the first pro bat was created by 17-year-old Bud for Pete Browning in 1884. Browning was a megastar in Louisville's major league team, the Eclipse. One spring afternoon, Bud skipped out of work to watch the Eclipse play. He saw Browning break his bat and offered to make a new one at the woodworking shop. According to the story, in the next game, Browning got 3 hits with the bat that Bud had made. And oh, by the way, Pete Browning's nickname was the Louisville Slugger. Bud was passionate about adding baseball bats to the family business, but his father wanted no part of that particular product. He didn't like baseball, and he didn't think there was any money to be made in baseball bats. Sounds a lot like my father. He believed the future of the business was a very popular, patented swinging butter churn, which, by the way, was very popular until the 1940s. However, the baseball bat business grew. The name Louisville Slugger became its registered trademark in 1894, and Bud joined his father as a partner in 1897. Their bat business took another leap forward in 1905 when Honus, the Flying Dutchman, Wagner, a superstar shortstop for the Pittsburgh Pirates, signed a contract as the first player ever to endorse a bat. His autograph was also the first to be used on a bat, and the first time a professional athlete had endorsed an athletic product. In 1911, Frank Bradsby, a very successful salesman, joined the business. Now, the Hilrichs knew how to make great bats, but they lacked that professional sales and marketing expertise. That's what Bradsby brought to the business. In 1916, he became a full partner, and the company changed their name to Hilrich and Bradsby Company, or just H&B. H&B made equipment for the Army during World War I and World War II, things such as gun stocks and billy clubs, but they also continued to make baseball and softball bats for the troops. After the war, baseball carried on as the country's passionate pastime. I mean, we've all heard America's game. And Louisville Slugger bats dominated as the stick of choice for the greatest players in the game. Since that first contract with Honus Wagner in 1905, generations of legends have swung Louisville Slugger bats. And you may have heard of some of these. Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Ted Williams, Jackie Robinson, Roberto Clemente, Hank Aaron, Ken Griffey Jr., and Derek Jeter. In the 1970s, H&B expanded into making aluminum bats. So, come to the Louisville Slugger Museum and see the world's largest bat, which, by the way, is 120 feet high and weighs 68,000 pounds. And take a tour. Tours last about 30 minutes, and at the end of a tour, you get a free mini bat. So, you've gone through the Fraser History Museum, or you've visited the Louisville Slugger Museum, and now you're hungry. Well, I have a place for you, and that's my third spot, my bonus that I mentioned to you before. About 20 miles east of Louisville, in Shelbyville, Kentucky, is Claudia Sanders Dinner House. Claudia Sanders, the wife of the Colonel Sanders, founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. In 1959, at the age of 69, Colonel Harlan Sanders and his wife, Claudia, moved from southeastern Kentucky to Shelbyville. He moved to Shelbyville because of the opening of Interstate 75, which bypassed Corbin and his restaurant. It was from this very building that Kentucky Fried Chicken grew into a worldwide organization. Prior to this, the Colonel had spent many years in Corbin, Kentucky, developing his now world-famous chicken recipe. However, you can still visit the original building in Corbin, which is still an operating KFC. The 125-year-old building, Blackwood Hall, which is adjacent to the dinner house, served as the Sanders residence and the base of operation for Kentucky Fried Chicken after they moved here. The expanding business soon brought a need for office and warehouse space, so they constructed another building, which was to become Claudia Sanders Dinner House. Colonel Sanders sold Kentucky Fried Chicken in 1964, and the company offices were moved. However, Colonel Sanders and his wife weren't to remain idle for long. Their knowledge of Southern recipes and their natural leaning toward the restaurant business soon brought around the creation of this, the Claudia Sanders Dinner House. Here, an air of Southern hospitality and cooking, combined with old-fashioned, family-style service, still remained. To taste some of that original recipe, just stop by for dinner or for the buffet on Sundays. You can even take some of these Southern recipes home with you. Just ask the hostess about the Claudia Sanders Dinner House cookbook. It's a welcome addition to any cook's collection. So, that's it for Louisville, Kentucky. I hope the next time you're down this way, you stop by and visit the Fraser History Museum or the Louisville Slugger Museum, or both. And also take time to go over to Shelbyville, Kentucky and take a meal at Claudia Sanders Dinner House. Oh, by the way, this is the last time you'll be seeing my videos as Steve Spots. I've changed the name to Sights Less Seen. So when you look up my videos, look up for Sights Less Seen. That's S-I-T-E-S, Sights Less Seen. Well, this is Steve. Hope to see you next time on Sights Less Seen.